Good morning. Good morning. Audible, no sound? Okay. Good morning, Sumeda, Shweta, Zoya, Chentana. So fast it is going. I'm not able to tell everyone's name. Okay, so if you see the board, I have written almost everything which we have done yesterday. And I have derived also. Okay, small derivations I have shown. So quickly go through this as we wait for 2-3 minutes. Good morning, Manusvi, Lavanya, Apsana, GM. Can we submit the assignment today? Which assignment? Now I have not given assignment. Oh, assignment 2 you should have submitted before your PTE. Okay, assignment should be done before PTE so that it will be useful for your PTE exam. Okay. So tomorrow I think I will give the assignment 3 based on current chapter, which will be useful for you for PTE. So try to solve the questions before you write PTE exam. So we'll wait for 2 minutes, then we'll start. Okay. Okay, good morning students. We'll start the class now. So sigma is any power to relaxation time m by yeah, correct. So this is your sigma, right? So it will be n e square tau by m. Okay, so just let me know how many of you understood everything here. See, we did 4 important derivation yesterday. 4 important derivation. This one 3 marks, 3 marks, and these two will come together for 5 marks. So actually we did 3 important derivation, but even these 2 can be asked separately. Sometimes they can ask this separately. If they ask this separately, then up to here only you do. So how many of you understood everything here? Just put a thumbs up or yes sir like that. Prakriti understood, Rufia understood, Shavani understood, Ramya understood. Yeah. So almost everybody. Okay. So let us, even if you have understood, okay, let us just quickly revise so that all this formulae will sink in our mind. Okay. So even if all of you have understood, let us quickly once revise. Not the entire derivation, but we'll just quickly revise. Okay. So look here. Drift velocity is your Vd equals to A into tau. So how to remember this formula? Very simple. In your first PU, you have seen this formula. This formula we have seen V equal to U plus AT, right? Now what is drift velocity? Average velocity. So if you take average velocity of this, let us put like this. Let us represent this bar line. Then this is your drift velocity. And average initial velocity is 0. Average initial velocity is 0 because they move randomly. So initially the average velocity was 0. And acceleration is constant for everybody. So what will happen? This will be your average time. And average time between two successive collision is called relaxation time. So very easily you can remember this formula. And acceleration is what? Force divided by mass. Force is Q into E. For electron, Q, how do we write Q? E. For electron, the charge we write E. So E into capital E by M. So very simple derivation. Now, this formula is called vector form of Ohm's law. Vector form of Ohm's law. J equal to sigma E. Sigma is called conductivity, which is reciprocal of resistivity. Reciprocal of resistivity. So if resistivity is less, conductivity will be more. How to derive this formula? Very simple. Ohm's law you start. V equal to IR. Then potential difference we know in capacitor also we write E into D. Here D is distance between the two ends of the conductor. Because we are applying potential difference between these two ends, right? So this should be your distance between the two ends of the conductor, which is nothing but length of the conductor. So E into L. Current is current. Resistance formula is what? Rho L by A. L will cancel. Current divided by area. This is called current density. Then if you bring rho this side, 1 by resistivity is conductivity. So J equals to sigma E. Right? So very simple, start with Ohm's law. Then you come to this formula. This is your, no, if I bring A this side, I will get Janevi formula. So don't forget that name, Janevi. Okay. So how to derive this formula? Simple. Current you want. So what is current? Charge by time. How much charge is moving? How much charge is moving? For that you have to count how many free electrons are there. So if n is the number of free electrons, each electron has charge E. So total charge will be Ne. Now experimentally what we can measure is number density. Number density means number by volume. Volume of a wire. Wires will be usually in what shape? Cylindrical shape. So volume will be area pi r square into length. So volume will be area into length. So what will be the number of electrons? Cross multiply. Number density into volume. This is the charge, right? Then divide by the time. Time taken from one end to the other end. Distance divided by speed. Distance divided by speed. Length cancel. Vd will go up. So easily you can derive this formula also. Just remember the total charge by time. Okay. Then to derive this formula, what you do, start with this formula. Bring this A this side. Then current by area will be your current density. And Vd, you know already here. See, Vd is what? E by M tau. E by M tau. Then you simplify this. E you take outside. Then you compare. J equal to sigma E. So this must be your sigma, which is called conductivity. Okay. So just I wanted to do quick revision so that if somebody has not understood, it will be clear. Today, we are going to study how resistance changes with temperature in a mathematical way. In a mathematical way, okay? So, topic is temperature coefficient of resistance. Okay, temperature coefficient of resistance. So look here, let us say R1 is the resistance at temperature T1. R1 is the resistance at temperature T1. When you increase the temperature, resistance will change. So R2 is the resistance at temperature T2. Experimentally, it has been found that the change in the resistance, change matlab final resistance minus initial resistance, is directly proportional to the initial resistance and the change in temperature. Okay, so this is an experimental fact, but this is only true for limited range of temperature. Limited range of temperature. So don't think this formula is applicable for whole range. This is true only for limited range. Okay. Can you tell me from here what kind of assumption I am doing? Resistance is changing linearly with temperature or non-linearly? The moment I write this formula, resistance, you can see, is changing with temperature. Resistance is changing with temperature. My question is, when I write this formula, am I assuming linear change or non-linear change? Linear or non-linear? I hope you have heard linear equation, non-linear equation, right? Yeah, it is linear because there is no square or cube. The power is 1. So whenever y is equal to some constant x like that. So if the power is 1, then the change is linear. So students, when I write this formula, we are assuming that the resistance changes linearly. But actually speaking, when you plot the resistance of many materials, you find it is exponential. Okay, so it is only linear for some small part. So that is something detail I wanted to tell. You should not worry about it. Just try to remember this formula. So if I write equal to, a constant will come alpha. So this is proportional sign. This is proportional sign. This is alpha. Okay, constant of proportionality. Constant of proportionality. So R1 T2 minus T1. So this formula you should remember. So this is how initial resistance and final resistance are related with temperature. Alpha is called this constant, temperature coefficient of resistance. Okay, this will depend on material. So look carefully now. This formula you analyze. Suppose alpha is a large number. Okay, suppose, note here, if alpha is large, what does it mean? If alpha is large, what does it mean? It means this will be large. Yes or no? If this number is large for some material, this number will be large. That means the resistance will change by a large amount for given change in temperature. So for given change in temperature, the material which has more alpha, the resistance will change more. So if alpha is large, resistance will change more. Resistance will change more with temperature. So please memorize it. If alpha is large, the change in resistance will be large. Okay. So if you want a device, like for example, light detector. So in light detector, what happens? They will put some instruments and they will ask you some questions. And usually if you are a normal human being, not very, cunning kind of person. If you are normal human being, then when you are lying, some changes happen inside your body. Your heartbeat starts increasing, blood flow increases. So Solpa temperature changes, and if little bit temperature changes, but if your material, if you have used a material whose alpha is very large, then little bit change in temperature will also create a large change in resistance if alpha is large. So that large change in resistance can be used to detect change in current, and that can be used to find out whether you are lying or not. It is not 100% obviously, but that is one of the method. Okay. So if you want any material to be very sensitive to temperature, if you want any material to be very sensitive to temperature means little bit if you change temperature, then also its resistance changes by a large amount. Then it is very sensitive to temperature. Okay. So in that case, your alpha should be large. Now suppose you want a resistor whose value should be fixed. So suppose I want to make a standard resistance 5 ohm. I think I have not spoken about the unit of resistance. I will speak, don't worry, but I think unit of resistance you study in school also. So if I want a standard resistance whose resistance is 5 ohm, whether it is summer or winter, I don't care. In that case, alpha should be very small, so that even when temperature changes, the resistance change will be very, very small. It can be negligible. So please remember, if you want to make a, so this, let me mention that part. That is asked in exam also. So one very common question is, why alloys are used for standard resistance? Standard resistance. So if they ask you why alloys are used to make standard resistance, the answer is, two answers are there. Two answers are there. The first one is, first reason is resistivity is high. Resistivity is high. Right? If you want to make resistance, its resistivity should be high. No, you can't use copper wire. See, what is the formula for resistance? Rho L by A. For copper wire, resistivity is very, very small. So resistance usually we neglect for copper wires. Understood? So if you want to make standard resistance box, so inside that box you have to use some wires which will offer resistance. So since you want that resistance to be standard, 5 ohm, 100 ohm, 200 ohm, that means resistivity should be large. So we don't use usually copper wire or metals, we usually use alloys. Why we use alloys? Because their resistivity is high. Second reason is temperature coefficient of resistance, which is alpha, is low. You want alpha to be low. Why you want alpha to be low? So that its resistance doesn't change. Otherwise, if alpha is large, what I told, resistance will change by a large amount from summer to winter, which you don't want. You want the resistance to be fixed. So please remember this for 2 marks. Done? Everybody done? Yeah. So 2 reasons are there. One is resistivity is high. Second reason is the alpha should be low. Okay. So today we will solve some problems based on whatever formula we have derived. So see, okay, by the way, before I do the problem, some graph let us see. Graph of resistivity with temperature. Resistivity with temperature. Resistivity with temperature. Last year, one of the graph was asked in board exam. Okay. So if they ask for copper for single metals, as I told, it is not actually linear. When you actually do the experiment, it looks exponential like this. Okay. For alloy, nichrome, it looks like this. This is for nichrome. Nichrome is an alloy. So some very common alloys are nichrome, constantan, manganese. Okay, so manganese. So these are common alloys which are used to make resistance. Okay, you can see in the EPL. So if they ask how the resistivity changes with temperature for copper, it looks like this. Here it looks like this. In both the case, what you can see, resistance is increasing with temperature. If resistivity increases, resistance also will increase. So here alpha will be positive number. Here alpha will be positive number, right? I hope you remember R2 minus R1 is alpha R1, T2 minus T1. So if your resistance is increasing, final resistance will be more. So if this is more, then this alpha will be positive number. But for semiconductor, which I will be teaching in the last chapter, so it will take time, the graph actually looks like this. So for semiconductor, you can see with increase in temperature, resistance is decreasing. Resistivity is decreasing means resistance is decreasing. That means R2 will be less. Final resistance will be less. In that case, your alpha will be what number? Negative number. Many times in CET and NEET exam, they have asked. They will give you 4 material: copper, silver, gold, silicon. Copper, silver, gold, silicon. Out of the 4, which one has negative alpha? They will ask. What is the answer? Copper, silver, gold. Then they will say silicon. So answer is silicon, because silicon is a semiconductor. Okay. Some of you may not be knowing. It's okay. I will be teaching in the last chapter. Please make a note. So this is the variation for copper, nichrome, and this is for any semiconductor. In NCERT, they will put values also, values. How to remember values? No need to write values. In exam also, no need to write values. Okay. Now, let us solve numerical exercise 3.1. The first numerical exercise 3.1. Okay. So let us start. Yeah. So what is the question saying? The number density of free electrons. Number density doesn't mean number. Number density means number divided by volume. So number density of free electrons in a copper conductor is given by 8.5 into 10 to the power 28 per meter cube. How long does it take for an electron to drift from one end of a wire 3 meter long to the other end? How long it will take? Matlab time they are asking. And the length of the wire is given 3 meter. Area of cross section is given 2 into 10 power minus 6 meter square. And the wire has a current which is 3 ampere. So time taken they are asking. Time taken. Okay. Students, understand one thing. Sometimes they will not give you area, they will give you radius. Radius of this part. So if they give you radius of this part, please write pi r square. Okay. So first what we should do, calculate the drift velocity. So we know that current is NA, drift velocity E. So drift velocity will be current divided by NAE. What is the current? 3 amperes. Number density 8.5 into 10 to the power 28. Area 2 into 10 power minus 6. into charge of E. E matlab charge of electron in magnitude. Okay, magnitude, because this is just the speed. So 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So divide 3 by 8.5, then divide by 2, then divide by 1.6. Okay, you should get approximately 0.11 into 10 to the power how much? Minus 19 minus 6 will be minus 25. Minus 25 plus 28 plus 3, that will go up. So if it goes in the numerator, it will become 10 power minus 3 meter per second. So drift velocity, you can see. Remember, I used to tell you, electrons drift very slowly because they keep colliding. Remember, no, they keep colliding. So the average velocity, the thermal velocity is very large. The thermal velocity, matlab the random velocity which they have, that is very large. But the velocity with which they drift, that velocity is very small number. See, it is just 0.11 millimeter per second. Just millimeter it is. So try to remember this number. Sometimes in CET exam, they will ask you the order of drift velocity. So if you remember this number, you can directly tick. Okay, but they asked you to find time taken. So time taken to go from one end to the other end will be what? The distance the electron has to cover, which is the length of the wire, divided by the speed. All of you know this formula. Speed is distance by time. So distance to cover is how much? What is the length of the wire given? 3 divided by 0.11 into 10 to the power minus 3. That will come 27.27 into 10 to the power 3 seconds. This is the answer. I have a very interesting question based on this. Yeah, you can write 10 to the power 4 also. Amina is correct. Now I have a very interesting question for all of you. Okay, so imagine this is your switchboard. This is your switchboard. At your home, you have this plug, na? To put the plug, you have this switchboard. And here is your bulb, let's say. So this is your bulb. Let's say you have used a wire which is 3 meter long. At home, you can have 3 meter long wire, right? Now, how much time it takes for electron to reach from here to here? To reach from here to here, the time taken is this much. Try to convert this into hours. How to convert seconds into hours? Divide by 60, divide by 60. Divide by 60, it will be minutes. Divide by 60, it will be hours. You will get 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours it will take. That means when you switch on, it will take 7.5 hours, more than 7 hours for electrons to reach there. But usually when we switch on, immediately the bulb will light, no? Immediately the bulb will light. Yes or no? We don't wait for 7 hours, no? It's not like you switch on and then you wait for 7 hours, then the light will come. So how it is happening? If the drift velocity is so small, if velocity is so small, how is this bulb glowing instantly? Can you think of this? Anybody? It is AC current. No, if it was suppose I put battery, Navin, suppose I put battery, then I have to wait. Huh? Suppose I put battery, it doesn't have to be AC current only. Suppose there was a battery here. Connect a battery, then you switch on. Immediately the bulb will glow. Maybe because of electrons move continuously. Okay. Yeah, I think Abhishek has given a proper answer. Okay, Abhishek has given a proper answer. So the thing is like this. At your home, you have tap, no tap? The tap, when you open the tap, you don't wait for the water to come from the tank to the tap. Immediately the water will come. Immediately the water will come the moment you open the tap. That is because the water is everywhere in the pipe. When you open, you create height difference. Because of that, immediately the water everywhere will flow. Similarly, don't think electrons here has to reach there in order for the bulb to glow. The whole thing is made of conductor. Everywhere there is wire, right? Everywhere there is wires, right? So everywhere there is free electron. So the moment you put potential difference, everywhere there will be electric field, everywhere. So everywhere electrons will move. Here also it will move, here also it will move, here also it will move. So the bulb will glow instantly. So it is not like you have to wait for electrons here to come there. Exactly like the tap example. When you open the tap, you don't wait for water to come from tank to the tap. Okay. This was asked in one of the CBSE exams. Okay. Let us see question number 2 now. At room temperature 27 degrees Celsius, the resistance of a heating element is 100 ohm. So at temperature T1, 27 degrees Celsius, resistance of the element is 100 ohm. What is the temperature of the element if the resistance is found to be 117 ohm? So at what temperature? Question mark. So this final temperature we have to find. The resistance is equals to 170 ohm. Given temperature coefficient of the resistor is alpha, which is equals to 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 4. Unit will be per degree Celsius, right? Why it will be per degree Celsius? You know, right? Let me write the formula. So what is the formula here? We already know R2 minus R1 equals to alpha initial resistance T2 minus T1. So you can see this is resistance, this is resistance. So ohm will cancel. So alpha will have temperature in the denominator, right? So the unit of alpha will be per degree Celsius. So from here, what will be T2 minus T1? R2 minus R1 by alpha R1. So let us calculate T2 minus T1 first. So R2 is 117 minus 100 divided by alpha is given 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 4 into R1. R1 is 100. So T2 minus T1, let me separate this part. So this will be 17. If I take 110 from here, this will be also 17. And this 110 will make this 10 power minus 3. Okay, 110 I took here to make it 17. So 17 will cancel. So T2 minus T1 will be 1000. So they want T2. So T2 will be, take T1 that side. What is T1? 27. So 1027 degrees Celsius, because this is given 27. Okay, simple question. Please write fast. Some entrance concepts also I want to do, students. Okay, so write fast. Yeah, delta T Amina has found. After finding delta T, you please find T. No need to convert into Kelvin. No need, because the given temperature was in Celsius. So final temperature also you better write in Celsius. Okay. Let us see the next question now. Question number 3. So in question number 3, they are asking, an electric toaster uses nichrome for its heating element. When a negligibly small current passes through it, its resistance at room temperature is found to be 75.3 ohm. So at temperature T1 equals to 27 degrees Celsius, its resistance initial is found to be 75.3. Why they told when negligible current flows? When negligible current flows, heat will not be produced so much. Heat will not be produced so much. So the temperature of the nichrome wire you can consider as room temperature. Okay. Now see what they are saying. When the toaster is connected to 230 volt. So imagine this is your toaster. When you are connecting it to 230 volt, the current settles after a few seconds to a steady value of current here. It becomes finally after a few seconds 2.68 ampere. So why this they told? Why it settles like this? See, listen carefully. When current will start flowing, this wire will get heated. It will get heated. When it gets heated, it will emit energy through something called Stephen's law, which I will teach later. For this question also, we have to use Stephen's law later. So when the wire gets heated, it will radiate heat. According to, you can say Stephen's law or Newton's law of cooling, your wish. So it is absorbing heat from the power supply, right? Because of current, heat is developed. But at the same time, it is losing heat. A time will come when the heat absorbed will be equal to heat lost. When that will happen, then it will reach steady temperature. Steady temperature means steady resistance. Steady resistance means steady current. Okay, I hope it is clear. Anyways, you don't need that because already you know Ohm's law. So using Ohm's law also you can find the resistance. So question is, what is the steady temperature of the nichrome element? So at when this current becomes steady, what is the temperature they are asking? Okay, and alpha is given 1.7 into 10 to the power minus 4 per degree Celsius. Now look here. We know that at initial temperature, this is the resistance. Once battery is connected to 30 volt, current is this much. So at this moment, at this temperature, at T2, which is question mark, how to find the resistance? I know voltage and current. I know voltage and I know current. So I will use Ohm's law. Voltage divided by current. Correct now? So if I use this, I will get 85.82. Please check my answer, okay? 85.82. Right? Because voltage is 230 volt. This is 230. And current is 2.68. So if you divide these two, this much is the final resistance. Okay. Once you have found the final resistance, now the problem is like previous problem. R2 you know, R1 you know. You have to just find T2. So let me write the formula. R2 minus R1 will be alpha R1 T2 minus T1. So from here T2 minus T1 will be what? R2 minus R1 by alpha R1. So just like before, you do the calculation. Okay. So you will get here 820. Okay. So this will come 820. So please do the calculation yourself. Yeah. 794.88 you will get. So approximately you can write, no, this part. Approximately you can write 820. I am getting 820. How about other students? Yeah. So this will be 820 approximately. Then your T2 will be T1 plus 820. T1 is given how much? 27. So 27 plus 820 will be equal to 847 degrees Celsius. Okay. So those who are using calculator, you can do exactly. I don't have calculator, so I just did approximately. So this is the answer you will get. Please try yourself at home using calculator. I hope everybody understood why they told steady current. Okay, so let me just quickly explain once more. The moment you connect the battery, current will flow. As current will flow, the wire will get heated. So it is absorbing energy from from the battery source. It is absorbing energy. Now, as its temperature increases, initially temperature will increase. So according to Stephen's law, it will radiate more and more heat. So after some time, what will happen? If it is absorbing 100 joules per second from the battery, it will also radiate 100 joules per second. So after few seconds, the rate at which energy is absorbed will be equal to the rate at which energy is lost. So once that will happen, now it will no longer absorb any energy, because I'm getting 10 apples, I'm giving 10 apples. I'm getting 10 apples, I'm giving 10 apples. So now the number of apples with me, that will be constant. So that is when we say steady state. Okay, fine. All these are NCERT problems. Okay, so now today I want to teach you some little bit of entrance also, because PT will be there. No, so look here. During stretching of a wire, resistance of the wire is proportional to length. Resistance of the wire is proportional to length square. Resistance of the wire is proportional to 1 by length square. Which is the correct option? Try once. Try to think and answer. So during stretching of a wire, resistance of the wire should be proportional to the length of the wire, or proportional to length square, or inversely proportional to length square. So what is the answer? Try once for some time. For 1 minute like that you try. Remember, during stretching I'm telling. This is the important word. Okay, so let me now tell you. See, usually how we write resistance? Rho L by A. Right? Now, when I write rho L by A, usually what students will think? Resistance is proportional to length. But remember, during stretching, area also will change. Area also will change. So if area is not constant, how we can say these two are proportional? Okay. So during stretching, what happens? If this is the wire right now, if this area is A and this length is L, when you stretch the wire, the length will increase. So let's say the length has become NL. 2 times, 3 times, you have increased the length. Then area will decrease that many times. Area will decrease that many times. The reason is simple. Volume must be constant. During stretching, volume must be constant. Write down. During stretching, volume must be constant, because mass is constant, density is constant. So volume will be constant. So this volume should be equal to this volume. So during stretching, volume, which is area into length, is constant. Okay, so keep in mind, during stretching, volume, which is area into length, is constant. So now I can rewrite this formula. Rho L by area I can write from here. Volume divided by length. Length will go up. Now you can see resistivity and volume are constant during stretching. During stretching. That means I can say resistance is proportional to length square. So be careful about this. Yeah. What does this mean? This means, look here now. If length increases n times, if length increases n times, 2 times, 3 times, whatever, then resistance will increase n square times. So new resistance will be n square times old resistance. if length increases n times. So keep this formula in your mind. Some basic questions can be asked. Also, if change is small, okay, maybe 1%, 2% change, 3% change in the length. So if the change is small, then you can use this formula to connect the relative change between resistance and length using error formula. So in error formula, I hope all of you remember in first view, if y is proportional to x power n, the relative error delta y by y, how we should write? N times delta x by x. Okay. So if change is small, only if the change is small, remember. So then we can write delta r by r will be 2 times delta L by L. So this is called relative change. Relative change. If you multiply by 100, it will be called percentage change. Percentage change. Okay. So if the change is small, I can directly write this formula using my first PU knowledge of error analysis. Error analysis. But again, don't use this formula when the change is large. So let us discuss that. So let us do one problem. If length increases by 2% by stretching, okay, because whatever I told is true for stretching. So during stretching, area will decrease, length will increase. So keep that in mind. So if length increases by 2%, resistance increases by what percent, they will ask. So simple answer, because it is stretching, and the percentage change is small, 2%, I can use error formula. So delta R by R will be 2 times delta L by L. So if I multiply by 100 both sides, I will get percentage change in resistance. That will be 2 into percentage change in length, which is given 2%. So answer will be 4%. Okay. Now see how the answer will change if I say in the same question, plus first you write. Everybody understood this now? So when changes are small, you can use error formula which was taught in first PU. Combination of error, if you remember. Now, if somebody says, if length increases by 100, let me say 200%. 200%. Now be careful. Now don't say 2 into 200. Now it will be wrong. If you say 400% now, it will be wrong. 400% will be there in the option. So if you think this formula is always correct, then you will tick 400%, which is wrong, because this formula is used in error analysis, and errors are always what? Errors are always big or small? Small. So errors are always small. So these are changes for small changes. So this formula is only for small changes. Then how to do this now? How to do this? Well, now we will go to the basic. If we cannot use standard formula, we will go to the basic. We know how to find resistance, right? So look here. Initial resistance. So first let us find the length. Final length L dash will be how much? It increases by 200%, means L plus 200% of L. I think I have explained already percentage change last time. Salary. If I want 100% increase, then it means I want double my present salary plus increase. So what is the new length? 3L. No, this is 2, right? This is 2. So 200% means 2. So L plus L will be 3L. So length has increased 3 times. Now this is during stretching. So if length increases 3 times, what will be resistance? 3 square times. So new resistance will be 9 times old resistance. Correct, now students? Did I do any mistake? No. So resistance will increase 9 times. So now this, how to find percentage change? Percentage change means what? Change divided by original into 100. This is the meaning of percentage change. Final minus initial by initial into 100. So final is 9R minus R by R into 100. So that will be 800%. So it is not 400%, it is 800%. See, so the answer changes by a huge amount. 800%. That is the answer. So try for different number, 150%, 10%. 10% also better to use this only. Less than 10%, you use error formula. But more than 10% or 10%, better to use this. Yeah. Nishchita, do you remember what is the meaning of percentage change? I told percentage change means what? Percentage change means if my salary right now is X and I want 200% increase, then what should be my new salary? X plus 200% of X. So what will be the new length? The length is increased by 200%. So new length will be whatever length was there plus 200% of initial length. That will give you 3L. This part is clear? This part is clear, Nishchita? If length increases by 200%, it is increases by 200%. So it will be original length plus 200% of original length, which will become 3L because this is 2. How it is 3L? No, this is L. See, this is L. 200% means 200 by 100 L. So this will be L plus 100, 100 cancel 2L. So this will be 3L. Correct now? Understood now how it is 3L, Nishchita? 200% means 200 by okay. So after that you know, after that you know that resistance will increase n square times. So when length is stretched n times, resistance will increase n square times. So 3 square will be 9, and then you have to use this formula to calculate percentage change. Final minus initial by initial into 100. Okay. So this kind of questions are very common. Please try to do and don't confuse with percentage meaning. If you still have some doubt, call me. I will explain to you aram se. Don't worry. Okay, now let us continue with our PU topic, board syllabus. Home exercise, please try. Then you will be able to get some idea. Question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let us quickly learn exam corner. Exam corner 3.1. Exam corner 3.1. So what I will do, students, is I will give the answers of this in Google Classroom. I will explain it now, but if I start writing all the answer, no, it will take time, especially if it is descriptive. So if it is descriptive, I will write the answer. I will put the exam corner, whatever it is, and then I will share in Google Classroom. Okay. So see question number 1. Explain why birds can sit on power lines safely, whereas leaning a metal ladder up against a power line to fetch a stuck kite is extremely dangerous. So imagine this is the power line, the cables which are outside, no, that will pass through which electricity will come to our houses. So if this is the power cable line, so it will be very high voltage, okay, some 10,000 volt like that. So here one bird is sitting like this. Okay, so why nothing happens to the bird? That is the question they are asking. Why nothing happens to the bird? Okay, so the answer is very simple. Look here carefully. If you consider this point and this point, this and this part and this part are like two resistors in parallel. So the current coming from here will go, because this has almost zero resistance. This is made of copper. All the current will try to go here only. So very less current will go this side, like this. Okay, so this, the reason is, okay, if you consider this as ideal conductor, perfect conductor, if you consider, then this will be 1000 volt. This will be also 1000 volt. So if this is 1000 volt, this is 10,000 volt, this is 10,000 volt, there is no potential difference for the bulb. Actually, there will be little potential difference because current is flowing now. And that is because the wire will have little resistance it will have. But usually the wires which we use are almost perfect conductors. So the potential difference is zero. So no current will flow. So potential difference is approximately zero. So no current flows through the bulb. And that's why nothing happens to the bulb. But let us say for some reason this wire is sagging. On summer, no, it will sag solpa. So let us say by some default, this wire has come almost to ground. So this is ground and this wire is like this. Now, if the bird is trying to come down and 1 foot is here, 1 foot is here. Okay, so 1 foot is in ground, 1 foot is on the wire. Then the bird will become roasted. Okay, then you will see like that. Okay, so very quickly huge current will flow because the potential difference, now this is 0 volt. Now this is 0 volt and this is 10,000 volt. So huge current will flow and the wire, the bird will be roasted. Okay, question number 2. Question number 2, okay. Shall we discuss now question number 2? Everybody understood this part? The potential difference between the foot is almost zero. So potential difference is almost zero, so no current flows here. But if 1 foot is on the ground, other foot is on the wire, then it is problematic. Okay. Question number 2, you see. The electron drift velocity or speed, the electron drift speed is estimated to be few millimeter per second. We have done already 0.1 millimeter per second we got for currents in the range of few amperes. How is then current is established almost the instant a circuit is closed? Just now I asked. So they are asking, if electrons are moving so slowly, how can current be produced almost instantly? And the reason is there are electrons everywhere. When you switch on, potential difference will produce electric field everywhere, and that will accelerate electrons everywhere. So everywhere in the wire, electrons are moving, not like electron from one place has to reach other place. Okay. So the answer of this I will give in written to you in Google Classroom. Question number 3. The electron drift arises due to force. If you remember this question, I have already discussed with you. The electron drift arises due to force experienced by the electrons in the electric field inside the conductor, which is because of the potential difference. But force should produce acceleration, they are saying. But force should cause acceleration. Why then electrons acquire steady average drift speed? Steady. Why the velocity is becoming steady, they are asking. So I hope you understood the question. Okay, there are electrons in the wire. When you apply battery, there will be potential difference. Because of potential difference, there will be electric field. Electric field will exert force on the electrons. And Newton Baba told, if there is force, there will be acceleration. And if there is acceleration, velocity should keep increasing. So they are asking, why is the average velocity steady? Why? Why it is steady? The answer is simple, because of collisions. Because electrons are not moving in vacuum. They are moving in a medium where there are positive ions. So even if they are getting accelerated, they keep colliding. So they gain speed, collide. Then gain speed, collide. Gain speed, collide. So their speed never becomes infinity. if you calculate the average, it becomes constant. Okay, so again the answer of this I will be sharing. Yeah, it is like the terminal velocity. Yeah, you can think that way, but then be careful, it is not like some forces are balancing it. Question number 4, you see now, if the electron drift speed is so small, electron's charge is also so small, how can we still obtain large amount of current? Very interesting question. What is the formula for current? In terms of drift velocity, what is the formula for current? NAVDE. What they are saying? They are saying if electrons drift speed here means velocity only, is small. So you know this is a small number. You know this is a small number, right? You all know charge of electron is also very small. It is 10 to the power minus 19. So this is also small. So they are asking you, if this is small and this is small, how can you get large current? How can current be large? Can you tell the answer? Can you tell the answer? Yeah, obviously. This is question number 4. So the answer is obvious. This number density, since number density is very, very large, right? The order of number density is 10 to the power 28. If you see the previous problem, number density was given around 10 to the power 28 per meter. So though these numbers may be small, this number is quite large. Understanding or not? So that's the reason why your current is still good number. It is like 3 ampere, 5 ampere. It is not 0.00001 ampere like that. So the reason why current can be large is because number density is very large. Okay. Question number 5. When electron drifts in a metal from lower to higher. Arey, how sir? Arey, electrons are negative charge. Negative charge, I told you, they move from negative terminal to positive terminal. So from lower potential to higher potential. Current will flow from higher potential to lower potential. So when electron drifts in a metal from lower potential to higher potential, does it mean all the free electrons of the metal are moving in the same direction? Answer is no. Already I have told, electrons keep colliding, but the drift velocity, the average velocity is same for everybody. So it is like your individual marks are different, but average marks is common for all of you. So it is not like all the electrons will move in the same direction like that, because they keep colliding with the ions. So since they keep colliding with the ions, we cannot say they move, all of them move in the same direction. However, on average, if you talk on average, then everybody will have same average velocity, but not instantaneous velocity. So keep this in your mind. Last question. Are the paths of electrons straight lines between successive collision in the absence of electric field? And number 2 is in the presence of electric field. So let us discuss that. Last question. All this I can make MCQs and ask you in the PTE, remember. So try to learn every question properly. So what they are saying, there is one ion here, there is one ion here. Electron hits here, then goes here and goes like this. So they are asking, in between successive collision, is the path straight line? They are asking. Is the path straight line? Well, if electric field is not there, then yes, it will be straight line. If there is no external electric field, then in between this space, there is no external electric field. So it will go in a straight line. So in absence of electric field, yes, the path will be straight line. But imagine after heating, imagine electric field is, let's say, this side. Okay, this is if electric field is not 0. Matlab here you are connecting battery, here you are not connecting battery. Now let us assume after heating this is the second ion. So after heating, let us say after heating, let's say it starts like this. So if it starts like this, if electron starts like this and electric field is here, then its force will be, okay, let us say electric field is this side. So if electric field is this side, then force on the electron will be this side, right? Force will be this side. That doesn't mean you will go there only. It depends on your initial velocity. So if your initial velocity is this side and force is this side, you will go in a curved path. You will go in a what path? Curved path. As you have studied in which chapter? Second PU. Projectile motion. So if you throw something like this and force is like this, then it goes like this. Correct na? So if force is not in the direction of initial velocity, then it will not go in a straight line. Of course, if force is this side and I throw this side only, then it will go in a straight line. But if I throw this side and force is this side, then it will go like that. Similarly, if I throw this side and force is this side, it will go like this. Parabolic path. Okay, so please understand, in the presence of electric field, the path will be curved. The path will be curved. But in absence of electric field, the path will be straight line. Okay, students, only in special cases that wherever is the force, if electron starts in the same direction, then it will go in a straight line. But that is very rare because the motion is random. So after heating, electron can have any direction of velocity. So I hope everybody understood. If force is this side, let's take for example gravity. Where is gravity? Down. If I throw something down, it will go down only, straight it will go. But if I throw something here, then does it go straight? How it will possible? So motion is here, force is here, so it will go like that. Okay? Understood everyone? Or you want me to explain more in terms of inertia and all? Understood or not? Let me know. Yeah, okay. So let us quickly solve entrance corner 3.1. Entrance corner 3.1. Some basic questions are there. Easily we will solve. Consider a current. Okay, question number 1 we will do later. It is solpa complicated. Okay, so I don't want to waste time right now. We will do it, but we will do it later. Last we will do. See question number 2 first. Question number 2. Two identical slabs of given metal are joined together in two different ways as shown in the figure. So they have identical slabs. So one they have joined like this. So one they have joined like this and another they have joined like this. Okay, so you can think this is in series, this is in parallel. So they are asking you what is the ratio of the resistances? What is the ratio of the resistances? So they are identical. So if I say this area is A and this length is L, this length will be also L. Here this area will be A, this will be A, and length will be L. Okay, so the two blocks are identical. So what will be resistance here? Rho, what is the total length? 2L by A, right? If you put battery here, current will flow like this. So this is the area, and the length is L plus L. So R is resistance here is rho L by A. But the length I wrote how much? 2L, because this total length is 2L. Here what will be resistance? Rho, if current flows like this, length is how much? L only. But area now, if you see this side, area is 2A. Correct na? So the ratio of the resistance will be Divide this by this, will be 2 divided by 1 by 2, 4 is to 1. So please remember, I have already told you, when you write the formula rho L by A should be this area, matlab perpendicular to the current, and L should be this length, parallel to current. Okay, yeah, very simple question. So area here is A, area here is 2A. See question number 3 now. A wire has resistance R and resistivity rho. So imagine there is a wire, resistance is R, resistivity is rho. It is cut into two array. This question we have done already. If you cut this into equal parts, see, when you cut, it is not stretching. When you cut, it is not stretching. So area will be constant. So this area will be constant. So since the length has become half, resistance will be also half. So resistance of this will be half, since resistance is proportional to length. Okay, don't get confused that sir, you told resistance is proportional to length square. That is when you stretch. Here you are cutting. When you cut, area doesn't change. So area is constant. So R equal to rho L by A. Since A is constant, rho is constant, resistance is proportional to length. Only length, no length square. Okay, what about resistivity? Resistivity will be same because it depends on material. Question number 4. A wire of resistance R equal to 20 ohm is stretched so that its length increases 2 times. So final length is 2 times. What will be new resistance? Already I told you resistance will be N square L. Sorry, N square R. Right? Because you are stretching. Here you are stretching. So when you stretch, resistance is proportional to length square. So if this increases N times, this will increase N square times. What is N in the question? 2. Right? They have increased the length by 2 times. So this will be 2 square into resistance is 20. So it will be 80 ohm. Okay. Question number 5. As the temperature of a conductor increases, its resistivity and conductivity changes. We know that. The ratio of resistivity to conductivity. What will happen to this? Increases or decreases? Or remains constant? So with increase in temperature, this ratio will increase or decrease or constant. Yeah, some students know they think constant. Okay, so it is not constant because you know that it is a conductor. Since it is conductor, resistivity increases, and you know conductivity and resistivity are reciprocal. So if this increases, this will decrease. So numerator is increasing, denominator is decreasing. So answer will increase. So answer is increases. Option A. Right? 10 by 2, 20 by 1 is increasing. No, 10 by 2, 20 by 1. So when numerator increases, denominator decreases, answer will increase. See the next question. A metal rod of length 10 centimeter and rectangular cross section of 1 centimeter into half centimeter is connected to a battery across opposite faces. So let us try to draw a picture. Let me draw here only. So there is a block something like this. Okay, this is a rectangular block, metal rod. Length is 10 centimeter. and the sides are, this is 1 centimeter because I made this longer, and this is half centimeter, 0.5, let me write 0.5 centimeter, this is 1 centimeter. Okay, so they are asking you the resistance will be maximum when the battery is connected across which faces? Which faces? Simple, already I have taught you. What is the formula for resistance? Rho L by A. So you want resistance to be maximum. So if you want resistance maximum, what you should do? Length should be maximum, area should be minimum. So if you put here, if you put battery here, then this will be your area, and that area is the smallest area, and this length is the largest length. So you have to put the battery between this face and this face, right? So if you put between this face and this face, then see what happens. This will be your area. So area will be minimum 1 into 0.5. This area will be more, na? This area will be more. This is the minimum area. So this is the minimum area, maximum length. So maximum length, minimum area will give you maximum resistance. So which is the right option? You should connect the battery across 1 centimeter and half centimeter faces. Option A. Okay, minimum, where you should do minimum. Minimum means your length should be smaller. So here you should put. Here if you put battery, here between 1 centimeter and 10 centimeter. Here if you put battery, resistance will be minimum. Because area will be maximum, length is minimum. So if this is minimum, this is maximum, this will be minimum. Which of the following characteristics electrons determine the current in a conductor? So current is determined by drift velocity, thermal velocity, both drift velocity and thermal velocity, neither drift velocity nor thermal velocity. So answer is, we know the formula already. So it is controlled by only drift velocity. Now listen carefully. Temperature dependence of resistivity of semiconductor, insulator and metals is significantly based on which factor? So the resistivity formula, let me write first. What was the formula for, let me write here. First let me rub some space, okay? So they are talking about resistivity of semiconductor, conductor, whatever, depends on what factor they are saying. So you know the formula for conductivity, right? N E square tau by M. So resistivity will be what? M by N E square tau. So let us see the option. Option A says number of charge carriers can change with temperature. Yes, that actually happens in semiconductor. So those who have learned little bit of semiconductor, you may know that when you increase the temperature, some of the covalent bonds may break. Some of the covalent bonds may break. When that breaks, you release free electron. Okay, so the resistance can be affected by temperature because increasing temperature can break some of the covalent bonds, which will increase the number of charge carriers. And if this number will change, then resistivity will change. So answer is option A is correct. Let us see other option also. The time interval between successive collision can depend on temperature. That is also correct. I told you tuck, 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 tuck. Last class I told or not. So when temperature increases, the electrons will collide more faster. So the relaxation time will decrease. So this is controlled. This is also controlled by temperature. So if this will change, this will also change. So A and B are correct. Length of material can be function of temperature. Yes, length of material we know is function of temperature, but that does not change the resistance by any appreciable amount. So please do not think that the resistance is changing because of thermal expansion. Resistance is changing because you are creating either more charge carriers, which happens in semiconductor, or you are changing the rate of collision. It is not because of thermal expansion. So C and D are wrong. D is saying mass of the carrier. No, mass is constant. Mass does not depend on temperature. So A and B both are correct. So this is multiple option correct question, multiple option. For NEET, what they can do, one of the option they can remove and put some wrong option. Question number 9, I told already, answer quickly. Don't waste my time. Alloys are used for constructing standard resistance because they have high resistivity and low temperature coefficient of resistance. Option B. 10 is a good question. Question number 10 is a nice question. So let us do question number 10. Very interesting and simple question. Consider two cylindrical wire, each of same cross section but of different material, fused to form a single wire in series. So let us say one is this, another one is this. Area is same. Area is same. But materials are different. So this is material 1, material 2. Let a voltage be applied across the combination. Let a voltage be applied. If electric field in the two materials, are E1 and E2, what is the relation they are asking? In option A, they are saying E1 is equal to E2. In option B, they are saying sigma. So many are already answering. You have become so smart or what? How you got that option B answer? Because you check the key. Huh? Are you checking the key and answering or what? Don't do like that, students. Okay, very good. So see here, these two are in series. So since they are in series, current will be same. Since current is same, current here and here should be same. So current are equal. Now areas are also equal. Areas are also equal. So current density will be also equal. Because what is current density? Current by area. So current is same, area is same. So current density will be same. Now I have taught you vector form of Ohm's law. So what is current density? Sigma E. But materials are different. So conductivity and resistivity depends on material. So in this material, conductivity is sigma 1, electric field is E1. In this material, sigma 2, electric field E2. So this later for JEE main students, JEE mains and JEE advanced, this is very important for us. Okay, because this we will be using to find how much charge will be accumulated here. So there will be now some charge accumulated here, which we will be doing in entrance topics. Another 5 minutes is there. Try one question. All of you should try. So last problem, if you remember, I gave you two wires and I connected them in series and I asked you drift velocity ratio. So similar question I want all of you to try. So here is one wire. I am applying a voltage V and here is another wire. Okay, so this length is L, this area is A. This length is 2L, area is A by 2. So maybe I have stretched it. So if you stretch it, this is what happens. No, you remember, no, if you stretch, length will increase 2 times, area will decrease 2 times. Same battery I connect, same battery matlab same voltage. Now this is copper, this is also copper. So material also same. You have to tell me ratio of drift velocity. Matlab you find drift velocity here divided by drift velocity here. Chalo, try. Nobody is getting, some are going away from the class. Rakshita is saying 2:1. Anybody else? Kirti 2:1. Ankita, I think I want this divided by this. Samyak is not in the class today. So how do you get this? How do you find this ratio? Let us try to solve. See, first you try to understand. In the previous question, current was same. In the last question which I did yesterday, here voltage is same. So first write the formula for current. You all know current is NABDE. Correct, na? So what will be drift velocity? Current divided by NAE. Now, if current was same, then you can say drift velocity and area are inversely proportional. You can say that if current was same, but here current is not same. What is same? Voltage. So let us write current in terms of voltage. Current is voltage divided by resistance. Current is from Ohm's law, voltage by resistance. And what is resistance? Rho L by A. NAE. So you can see area gets cancelled. So now if you look carefully, voltage is same, resistivity is same because same material, number density also same because same material. So length is in the denominator. That means drift velocity is inversely proportional to length. Inversely proportional to length. So when I go from here to here, length has become double. So if length has become double, drift velocity will be half. So velocity here divided by here will be, here it is double, no? So velocity here will be half of velocity here. That means V1 by V2 will be 2:1. So velocity here should be half of here. So most of you got the correct answer. Another way to do is, you find current here I1, I2, okay? Or you can write, shall I do it in different way? You can also write like this. Drift velocity is what? Current divided by NAE. So ratio of drift velocity will be what? N and E are same. So you can write I1 by I2 into A2 by A1. And what is I1? Voltage by resistance. So R2, R1. A2 by A1. Like this also you can do, because current is voltage by resistance. This is also same voltage by resistance. Voltage cancel. So this will have resistance in the denominator. Sorry, R1 here. And this will be R1. So current is voltage by resistance. Now you put rho L by A and then substitute the length. You will get the answer. Okay. So we'll stop for today. Anything is there, doubts and all, please ask me. In this also, if you have some doubt, let me know. Otherwise, we'll end the class. And please keep practicing more and more problems. Okay. Thank you. Bye, Ankita. Bye. And please come on time. Some of you are coming very late. Disha, are you present? She's not present. Okay. No problem. Thank you, Deepika. Shweta. Numerical exercise, how I will post? It is not possible, na? Numerical exercise I have done in the class. Sirisha, look here. So others can leave the meeting, no problem. Still we have 2-3 minutes. So those who have understood can leave the meeting, and those who want more clarity, you see here. See, they have given you two wires like this, one wire like this, one wire like this. Now, what they are applying same is voltage. Voltage is same. This area is A, this length is L, this length is 2L, this area is A by 2. According to question, okay, according to question, we have to find ratio of drift velocity. So you have to see which formula you know. I equals to NAVDE. This formula we know. Current I can write voltage by resistance, because here voltage is same. So current I can write voltage by resistance. So from here, what will be drift velocity? If I cross multiply, it will be V by R NAE. Correct now till now? Okay. Now let us take ratio V1 by V2. So if I take ratio, this V will cancel, E will cancel, N will cancel, because these are same. For both the wire, voltage is same. So no need to write, it will waste our time. So R is in the denominator, area is in the denominator. So V1 will be here R1, here A1. And V2 will be here R2, here A2. Then resistance, now you can write rho length by area. Correct now? This R2. Similarly, this A2 is sitting here. And this resistance you can write rho L1 by area into A1. So if you look carefully now, you can see A2 will cancel, A1 will cancel, rho will cancel. So the drift velocity is L2 by L1. It is inversely proportional. So L2 is how much? 2L. L1 is what? L. So ratio will be 2:1. So what you should do is just keep putting formula till you get everybody same. Everybody same matlab whatever is given same. So whatever is given same, in terms of that you have to write. Okay, chalo, see you. Anything else is there, let me know. Okay, understood now? Yeah. Thank you. But don't do this way, it will take lot of time. Try to do the way I have explained, using proportionality. That is better. Chalo. If still doubt is there, please give me a call. I will explain to you. Yeah.